Hello everyone, I'm Danuta Siemek and welcome to the video number 4 of the whole series of All About Anger. We're going to discuss the way that we suppress anger. Remember, we talked in a previous video about expressing anger, which is externalizing our angry feelings, externalizing so people can see it, so you can't really hide it that you're experiencing angry feelings. Now we're going to talk about suppressing the anger so people really don't see. So the question is, why do we do that? Why do we suppressing our feelings and not being authentic? Well, so many reasons for it really. You know, sometimes we were not allowed to be angry at home, and anger wasn't very appropriately expressed in our home, so nobody ever got angry, so we don't really even know how anger looks like. You know, sometimes we suppress our anger resulting from attempt to change our behavior, because previously perhaps we expressed our anger and that produced a lot of negative consequences in our lives. So now we're trying to change it by not really expressing our anger in a violent behavior. So that would be the other reason to suppress anger. Many reasons. People are very creative and they find so many different reasons to do what we're doing. So what kind of behavior do we engage in order to suppress that anger? So one of them, you know, probably quite obvious, will be use of alcohol and drug and some maybe pills. So it really suppresses the anger, because you cannot not feel. We're always feeling something. There's always an emotional component in our existence. So what is really happening is we're changing the way we feel. So rather than feeling angry and resentful, you know, when we drink, we might be feeling joyful, and all of a sudden the world seems to be okay, and the problem are diminishing, or they become very manageable, and so we can deal with our lives, you know, while under drugs, while our state is altered. So some people maybe use gambling, some people use food. Food really changes the way we feel, and we all know about it. What kind of food? Sugar. In fact, anger and sugar is being considered that produce in our body and in our brain like a drug-like effect. So that's why we do it. That's why we're eating when we're under the pressure, when we're angry or fearful. You know, another way probably to deal with this is to engage in relationships, meaningless relationship, although we might not look at it like that. Meaningless relationship, because each new relationship evokes that honeymoon period. In fact, there is a hormone that is released called oxytocin, which in other words is called love hormone. So it makes us feel good. It's something new is going on, so we're excited. So we don't have to feel, you know, what we're feeling in terms of our anger and maybe even other emotions. You know, another way would be probably very socially supported, would be, you know, to build our career, you know, to work. Some people call it workaholism. Some people call it, you know, I'm driven and I'm committed and I want where I want to get and I'm doing this. So being ambitious and following your dreams and desires and goals, it's a good thing, and working hard and being committed and disciplined, it's a very positive thing. So it's depending really what place you're coming from. If you want to be very successful because you cover some other vulnerable feelings, you know, that's one thing. And another thing, when your true desire is to manifest everything that you can in this lifetime. So perhaps other way is to cover and camouflage and press our anger down and keep it inside, is going to be through exercises. You know, people can get very committed to exercising, and I worked with a client who was actually shaking that he could not go to the gym every day. He was almost going through withdrawals. So people become very driven and kind of cross the line, because, you know, a lot of the things I'm talking about here, like eating and working and exercising, you know, we're all doing this. So where is that invisible line? I'm not going to tell you where it is. You just have to look at your life and, you know, establish that line for yourself, really. You know, another way to internalize your anger would be through sex, you know, meaningless sex, multiple partners. and that will give you that little time out for a little while. It might create a negative consequences in the long run, and it's not going to really contribute to your satisfying relationships, but it's going to change the way you feel. Remember, we're seeking pleasure and we're wanting to avoid pain. If you're experiencing some kind of angry feeling and you want to avoid it, I'm naming those behaviors that will probably change the way we feel. Well, shopping is another one. We all probably know that, you're going to go and shop and spend money, and that give you that little glow, and, wearing a new pair of shoes or having a new purse, shopping. Some people even call it shopaholicism, Other thing is to engage in risky hobbies. Remember, anger and fear, they have the same makeup. They take you to that place of heightened awareness and acceleration, and even feels good. So risky hobbies such as maybe racing cars or bungee jumping. Am I saying those hobbies are wrong? No, that's not what I'm saying. But if this behavior is designed purposely to change the way you feel without doing the behavior, that's a different thing altogether. We can do video games, we can stay on the phone, we can do so many different things to internalize, suppress our anger. And I give you an example how we can suppress our anger without even trying to do it. Let's say you're walking through, you're a girl, just had a new haircut, all your life you've been a little bit overweight, but you're really trying hard, you're exercising, you're sticking to your diet plan, you just had a new haircut, maybe change your hair color, and you're just walking through the mall looking for buying something, rewarding yourself. There you are, you're bumping to your friend, and she goes, wow, you can see you've changed your haircut. You know what, I like the previous haircut better. And in this minute, you just really don't know what to do. First of all, people say those things, people do those things. Why? Don't ask me, people just do. But it's not so much what happens to us, it's how we respond to it. What happens to us as a result of this kind of comment. So, because you're the person who is good and proper and you don't really say mean things to anybody, you're not going to defend anything, you just say, oh yeah, well, yeah, I just changed my haircut, and you make this conversation very short, and you go, and you feel that angry energy, overwhelming your body. And you, in your mind, you're not saying anything aloud. In your mind, you perhaps saying some mean things about this girl, maybe you're cussing her out in your mind, and before you know it, you're just turning to the next coffee shop, ordering the biggest slide of the cheesecake, and while you're eating it, you're feeling shame and guilt, and the true feelings are coming up, and the anger is all mixed up with other feelings because you're failing yourself again, and you did so good. And while you're eating this cheesecake, your friend calls, the friend that you're really trying to avoid because she's a party girl, and each time you're going out together, you drink, and you sometimes don't really know what happens after that. So you're trying to stay away with this friend. She's calling you right this hot minute and inviting you for going out to the bar, and you say yes. So you're going out, you drink, or whatever you're doing, and the next day, it's just going back to square one. You're not feeling good, you're feeling that sense of failure, and and the anger is not there anymore because you didn't express your anger. However, the other feelings are showing up. Keep in mind the same case scenario. Keep this in the case scenario, and there's another girl, walking through the mall, meeting your friend. The friend is making the same comment, and the other girl is saying, hey, you know what? I'm just trying out the different haircuts. I'm not particularly keen about this one. I think I'm going to go back to the one I had before. And you keep rolling. Nothing happens. No negative feelings. Everything is out and obvious, and you don't really need to experience the whole avalanche of negative emotions. So what is the difference? How come that one person can respond this way and another person responds another way? How do we get to do what we're doing? What is the difference? Where the next video is going to introduce the formula, how we do what we're doing. I also like to mention another thing. Remember the previous video when I was talking about how anger is utilized as a secondary emotion, like underneath the anger could be pain, could be fear of rejection, abandonment, guilt, shame. Just if we take the anger out of the equation, what are we really suppressing? Maybe we're suppressing not anger, maybe we're suppressing pain, maybe we're suppressing fear of rejection, maybe we're suppressing some fear of abandonment, maybe we're suppressing some other things, maybe not anger, maybe some painful memories and emotions from the past. Think about it.